Good evening, visitors, and welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Gerard Pratt, and we warmly welcome the family of Private Neville John O'Connor, whose story will be told shortly by Midshipman Daniel McGlynn from the Royal Australian Navy, who's a member of Private O'Connor's family. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony from across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by family and visitors to the memorial. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the national anthem. If able, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops at Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through until the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths of floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Private Neville John O'Connor. Neville O'Connor was born on the 6th of April 1924 in Young, New South Wales, the son of Daniel and Esther O'Connor. He grew up in Barmenden, a rural town in Blandshire of New South Wales, where he attended the local state school. His mother died when he was 11 years old. After finishing primary school, he went on to be a farmer. Not long after turning 18, in April 1942, Neville O'Connor enlisted in the militia. After a trip to Sydney, he was taken on strength and joined a training battalion. After a short period of training, in July he was transferred to the 30th Battalion, known as the New South Wales Scottish Regiment. The 30th Battalion had been issued with Scottish military equipment, including kilts, and adopted the tartan of the Black Watch, a Scottish unit of the British Army. Soon after joining the 30th Battalion, O'Connor embarked from Sydney, landing in Fremantle on the west coast in mid-July. He reported to a hospital suffering from diphtheria shortly after arriving and was admitted for treatment and recuperation. O'Connor and his militia battalion remained in Western Australia until late 1943, when they were moved to Queensland to undertake training for possible deployment overseas. O'Connor ensured that he would be able to serve overseas by enlisting in the 2nd Australian Imperial Force in the field on the 12th of April 1943. Late in the year, he was found guilty of being absent without leave and was fined as punishment. In early 1944, the units of the 8th Brigade, including the 30th Battalion, were dispatched to New Guinea in support of the Huon Peninsula Campaign. The battalion's most notable involvement came during the Battle of Seo. After Australian forces broke through Japanese positions and Finschhafen, troops advanced along the coast of the Huon Peninsula using infantry, tanks, and airstrikes against the Japanese positions. In June 1944, O'Connor suffered from an illness, and in April 1945, he was admitted to hospital with hepatitis. That same month, the 30th Battalion was moved to Wewak, where it supported the 6th Division's campaign, conducting patrols around Mount Tazaki and Mount Shiburangu. O'Connor and his comrades were involved in a number of engagements with Japanese forces, with the most notable coming in July, when they helped repel a Japanese attack on Australian positions around Mount Tazaki. On the 27th of July, 1945, a patrol group from the battalion made contact with enemy forces. The engagement ended with the death of 2 Japanese soldiers and Private Neville O'Connor, who was 21 years old. He was buried near where he fell, but his remains were later reburied in Leigh War Cemetery, where they lie today under the inscription chosen by his grieving family. He who gave his life so gallantly shall not be forgotten. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Neville John O'Connor, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
If able, please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Poziere, or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you all for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.